How do you feel about all the people that say that? How did an A-list celebrity like Tupac get shot after a Tyson fight and nobody seen anything?
Well, how does nobody see anything? I would say ask the guys in his entourage because that night nobody saw anything. They were all right there, and that night when you talk to them, they didn't have anything for us. So I would say talk to Tupac's people and ask them why they didn't see anything that night. That's my response to that. There are not cameras everywhere. There are a lot of cameras in Las Vegas, but there weren't as many in 1996 as there are now. Um, we didn't have intersection cameras. Um, how could this multi-platinum guy, just get shot? It's one of those things. He gets shot just like everybody else. He's still a human being. You pull up a car next to him and you start shooting him. I mean, he's not surrounded. It's not like a a president that's surrounded by Secret Service. And just as an example, I mean, look how many presidents who are surrounded by Secret Service have been shot. Several United States presidents. I mean, they're still human beings, and if someone is dead set on going after somebody and shooting them, it's not necessarily that hard to do, especially if they're willing to get hurt in the process of doing it, which some people are. So the fact that he's a super famous guy really doesn't play a role in something like that. Is like I said, how does he get shot? Same way everybody else gets shot. He's still a human being, and a guy pulls up next to him and starts pulling the trigger, and that's all that it is. And I mean, it happens. It happens around the world on a regular basis, unfortunately. But it's hard for people to admit that, or not admit, but it's hard for them to accept that somebody like that's their hero. That's almost got like a godlike status to them that they could just get shot and die. It just seems too unreal. It's too surreal. It is like it can't possibly be that simple. But unfortunately, it is, and that's how it happened. So, um, we'd have loved to have more witnesses there, but we didn't get the cooperation that we wanted. And look at Tupac himself. He didn't want to talk either. Um, do I think he knows who shot him? We could, of course, will never know for sure, but I think there's a good likelihood. Most people who are murdered know who their killer is. The guy was only a couple feet away from him when he was shooting at him. He hadn't lost consciousness yet. There's a good likelihood that he knows who was pulling that trigger. Um, it's just kind of hard facts, but it is what it is. And if he chose to be, he chose to be Tupac. I mean, maybe he was a pretty tough guy. I don't doubt that he was. He chose to go with the code of the street, and especially at that time, which was we don't talk to the police, and that's what he stuck to. So that's a choice that he made, and some people respect that. That's up to them. Um, he's apparently was pretty set in his beliefs, I would say, and I think that code probably ran strong in him, where you don't talk to the police, and I think that code held strong with a lot of his crew that night as well.
So nobody from his crew wanted to talk.
No, not that night. I mean, if they followed up with the investigators later and gave some more, that's fine. But I talked to all those guys that night. I was out there on the street with those guys for hours. And, the first thing the cops want to get in that type of situation is a description of the shooter so that we can broadcast it out and all the other cops can hear what we're looking for. We couldn't get that information. That took a while. The whole white Cadillac and stuff, that came later. So we didn't have much at all to work with that night. Very difficult.